we Canadians are not necessarily that well known in the United States, and so that somebody actually picked up on the work we're doing because it's international, but still, that was quite the surprise. And well, this city, this town took quite a hit, and being able to come and see how it is, nearly 20 years afterwards is in itself a worthwhile experience.
Sir, with what you saw in Rwanda, it obviously was going to stay in your mind forever. But I was thinking about it. You let it spread all the way to your heart, and it became a passion and a humanitarian efforts out of that. Was that something that just happened? Was that conscious? I mean, from what you saw there, did you just think, I'm gonna try to make something of this, something not necessarily good, but something beneficial?
It came after an interview, and I forget exactly what day, but it was in about the first month of the genocide, and it was an interview by an international press, and the question came to me. It was from a journalist, and he said, "Why are you staying?" He said, "Nobody's coming. Nobody wants to reinforce you. The cavalry is not coming over the hill. They're slaughtering them, and it's keeping on going." He says, "Why stay?" He said, "With the few troops that you have." And a spontaneous response came out from having already seen so much, was that if I can save one Rwandan to be a witness and to be able to hold the world accountable for what has happened here, then it's worth whatever the cost of my troops and I who volunteered to stay. And so that was the impetus, and that just stayed. And so I sort of feel this drive to be a living witness and to, when I can, hold people accountable not only for what they didn't do then, but what they've got to be doing now, and use that as a catalyst for the future.
One Rwandan, that was your motivation?
That's it, yeah.
And that is really interesting, because when I look at your initiative now, one child, if you can say one child from being recruited in the military, is that the same passion? In fact,
it was the impetus, because that came from, well, I did research at Harvard and so on with it, but really came from of the number of times I met up with child soldiers during that conflict. At one occasion, and I'll be relating that later on, where I came to a barrier and it was manned all by kids. And it was late afternoon and they were tired, but they're quite excited and they've been drugged up a lot. And I had to negotiate my way through this barrier. And I opened the door of my vehicle, and as I'm stepping out, this 13, 14-year-old rammed an AK-47 right up my face like this. And his finger was on the trigger, and his eyes were that big, and he was sweating, and he was nervous, and all the kids around him were yelling and screaming and making all kinds of noises. And what came through on that occasion was the fact that children are terribly unpredictable. I mean, if it's an adult, you'll see what sort of mood they're in. But the kids, you don't know what they're going to do. And they themselves don't really know what will be the impetus. And so to this day, the fact that he didn't pull the trigger is something. But the reason why he didn't pull the trigger is he saw the chocolate bar in my hand. And so I said, if I can stop a kid from killing somebody with a chocolate bar, then I think I've got a mission.
You gave him the chocolate bar, I take it.
You damn right, I gave him the chocolate bar and negotiated my way through it. Yeah, but that was the sort of the catalyst that I said. I'm going to work on genocide prevention stuff, but on child soldiers, I said if I can haul one of these kids. And then subsequently, I was in Sierra Leone in that war, and in Uganda on the Coney thing and all that. So I've been quite involved with it since.
One final question. What does receiving this award allow you to do for your initiative and all?
Well, some of the funds are going to help us to keep our activities going in the field. And I felt that the museum here should keep some of the funds too, so I've worked something out that way. And then the recognition here is going to go to the initiative. So it's based out of Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. And so bringing that to that institution gives us a position of leverage with those that we want to get engaged in providing us with more resources to do more. And so it's a very important demonstration to us that we can leverage to outreach to others. And that's why it's not the gesture tonight is one thing, but what we will be able to do with this, and I think that's why you want to do these things, is people can then use them for achieving their missions, and this is what I'm going to be doing.